What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Pop Culture Review. Thank you so much for joining me. This is not my typical video, so as those of you who've been around recently know, I've gone to doing one weekly episode where I talk about certain topics, and then I do a show and tell, and then I take some questions. And this is a topic that I was going to do on my episode this weekend. But then I just started looking at it and I was like, you know what? This is probably going to run a little bit longer than I would want a topic to run. So I decided to just make a video about this topic. And instead of, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the cast for Survivor Season 42, or at least I believe it is the rumored cast. I don't believe it's been made official yet. So this is the rumored cast for Survivor 42. Although I'm pretty sure that this will be the cast. I'm not going to do a projected boot order here, even though my track record with projected boot orders is not the worst in the world. I did pick Xander to go all the way to the end. Actually, I predicted Xander to win on my last projected boot order. Turns out he made it third place all the way to the end, which, you know, still isn't that bad, right? Still isn't that bad. I will be doing a projected boot order as a topic in my main show before season 42 starts. But right now I just wanted to look at the cast and just kind of break it down. So we have 18 people rumored to be on season 42. And it looks like, once again, they're going for a very diverse cast. You know, Jeff had said, he had promised that he was going to, that from here on out, casts were going to be very diverse. And again, I don't have an issue with diverse cast in terms of skin color, in terms of orientation, in terms of anything like that. My issue with the last season, and by the way, last season was not a diverse cast. It was not. They had different skin colors, but there's so much more to a person than what their skin color is. I think that that's actually a shallow way of CBS and Jeff Probst to look at people. I think it's a very shallow, very one-dimensional way for them to look at people. If you look at the people on season 41 from a worldview perspective, from a thought perspective, from a viewpoint perspective, it wasn't a diverse cast at all. You know, everybody was on the same playing field. Now, you can call it a left-wing playing field. I mean, that's what it is. Not that I have any issue with left-wing politics, but everybody was on a left-wing playing field. Everybody in that cast, from what I could tell, was very left-wing politically. Progressive, woke, whatever you want to call it, that's what they were. And so what we had was a cast that had everybody looked different, but everybody was actually the same. Everybody had the same kind of worldview, and I think that that is going to be a major problem if they still have, if they still want to pursue this going forward. Survivor comes from interpersonal relationships. That's what makes Survivor so interesting, is people from different walks of life with different viewpoints, who believe different things spiritually, who believe different things politically, who have different backgrounds. These people coming in and having to live together under this great social experiment and then having to vote each other off. And what we had in the last season was a group of people who their skin color was different, they looked different, but it really, when it came down to who they were, what their beliefs were, what their worldview was, they were an incredibly similar cast. There was very little diversity of thought in season 41. So, as we can see, looking at this cast, once again, we have a cast of people who look different. So surface, just from a strictly surface viewpoint, we once again have a diverse cast. It is my hope that Jeff and CBS finally realized that, wait a second, there's more to a person than their skin color. Am I right? There's more to a person than their skin color. I realize it's 2022, and we have to make sure that everybody's represented as far as their skin color is concerned, and that's fine. That's fine. I have no issue with that. I've been saying for years that Survivor can use a little more diversity on that level. But what we have had to sacrifice is we no longer have diversity of thought. All right. The first person I'm looking at here is Chanel Howe, 28 years old, New York City, New York. Okay, definitely a liberal. She's a recruiter, African-American person. It does not seem to... All we have is a recruiter. So it's probably... I don't know. That could mean anything. That could mean she works in a nonprofit world recruiting volunteers. That could mean that she works in the business world recruiting high-level executives. There's a lot of stuff recruiter could mean. But what it does tell me is that she has some interpersonal skills where she's able to communicate with people, and she's able to convey messaging very well. Daniel Strunk, 30 years old, Ann Arbor, Michigan, law clerk. All right, so this is a guy who he's a little goofy looking, but you know, he looks like a guy that's probably a lot of fun to be around. Law clerk. I don't know much about what a law clerk does. You know, I'm not sure, but my guess is it's somebody that does a lot of office work, a lot of, you know, behind the scenes stuff. So my guess is he's very detail oriented. Okay, Adria Wheeler, 34 years old, Montreal, Quebec, fitness trainer. Okay, she looks very fit, very definitely could be a major challenge force, at least in the physical parts of the challenges. You know, puzzles, who knows. But I do think that she's probably somebody that would be a challenge threat. All right, next is Hai Zhang. Is that how you say it? I'm not sure how you say that. Hai Zhang, 28, New Orleans, New Orleans? Oh, New Orleans, Louisiana. Analytics director. All right, so Louisiana. 28. We have he's an Asian person, and analytics director. All right, so this is somebody who works with analytics. So clearly, he's somebody that is, number one, going to be very detail oriented. Number two, he's going to be probably very intelligent and probably going to be able to look at bigger picture rather than you know what? In some ways, he's probably going to remind me of Yule from more than just his race. He's probably going to remind us a lot of Yule based on his strategy. You know, he's probably going to see big picture very, very easily based on the fact that he is an analytics director. All right, next is Jackson Fox, 47 years old, Charlotte, North Carolina. It doesn't tell us what he does for a living. Looks like a very personable person. Nice. Honestly, reminds me a little bit of me. Bald head, facial hair. All right. Jonathan Young, 28 years old, Gulf Shores, Alabama, beach rental business owner. All right, so, and again, all of this is just first impression. Honestly, probably doing some stereotyping here. A very limited information that we're dealing with here. He kind of strikes me as a Fabio type vibe. You know, that beach hippie type vibe. Now, people like Fabio have proven that those laid-back game players, they can really go a long ways. And they can definitely form very positive relationships with each other. They can also get themselves voted out early because they are not playing the game like other people would want. So, I mean, my guess is, just looking at him, I don't know. My guess is he's an early boot, but we'll see. All right, next is Jenny Kim, 42 years old, New York, New York, a designer. All right. a designer. So that probably means she's obviously working in fashion. New York City. Again, probably a progressive, living in New York. I guess that doesn't have to be 100% sure, right? Like, I'm sure that there's moderate or even conservatives living in New York. My biggest fear, guys, is that we're going to get another season with a lack of worldview diversity. I'm terrified of that because that's what we had in the last season. All right, Lindsey Dulish, 30 years old, Summit, New Jersey. She's a dietitian. All right, again, she looks like somebody who's probably pretty fit, could be a challenge beast. Let's go back to Jenny Kim, 42. Looks kind of tiny, a little bit older. Unless she's really good at forming some very strong relationships early on, she could be an early boot because I don't think she will be a challenge beast. All right, Lydia Meredith, 22, Los Angeles, California, actor. Okay, Los Angeles actor, definitely going to be very progressive. Actors can often be people who are a little self-important, and those people I don't think last long in Survivor. My guess is Lydia is going to be an early boot. I think she's going to be an early boot. All right. Mariah Sharon, 46, Indianapolis, Indiana, educational consultant. All right, so she is a little bit older. I mean, older. You know, I'm in my 40s. Okay, so take that for what it's worth. She looks great. Educational consultant. One of two things is going to happen. Either number one, educational consultant. I'm in education, so I'm wondering what her role as an educational consultant is. Does she work in like a district office, a state office, or a local school office? Is she like a guidance counselor? I don't know what the... Again, I work in education, and I'm not entirely sure what the job description of an educational consultant would be, or if it's somebody who, you know, works with schools to bring about improvement. But my guess is that being in education, she does have a lot of interpersonal skills, and you know, 46. It is a little older, but she looks very capable. I'm gonna say I think Mariah Sharon is gonna go pretty far in this game. All right, next, Marianne Olafch. 22 years old, Hamilton, Ontario. Integrated science student. Okay, so she's a student, obviously younger at 22 years old. Big smile, looks very outgoing. Again, all this is just surface stuff here. But she looks very outgoing, looks like she's ready to have a great time on this experience. I think someone like that can go really far in this game, and we've seen people who are younger go really far. Some of it's a little bit of being naive and trusting people, but I find that younger people can also do a good job of forming bonds. I think younger people can bond a little bit faster than older people, and yeah, I don't know. I kind of predict she's going to go pretty far or something. All right, next, Mike Turner, 57, Hoboken, New Jersey, retired firefighter. I think he's the oldest guy on this cast. Am I correct about that? Yeah, he's the oldest guy on this cast. Probably going to be looked at as the older guy, as the grandpa of the group at 57 years old. Probably going to be looked at as the grandpa of the group, and he better bring it physically. He better bring it at the challenges. Otherwise, he might be an early boot. He does look like he's in pretty good shape. But, yeah, he better bring it. Otherwise, he might be that easy first boot. Omar Zahar, 30 years old. What is that? Gulf, Ontario. Exotic animal veterinarian. Why do I feel like this guy's going to be very eccentric? Have I seen Tiger King one too many times? Exotic animal veterinarian. Yeah, I feel like this guy's going to be eccentric. Could be an early boot because of that. Could be an easy person to keep around. and use as a shield. Who knows? Maybe he's a strategic genius. I feel like he's definitely going to have that eccentric personality, though. All right. Roxroy Bailey, 43, Las Vegas, Nevada, environmental scientist. Again, probably going to be very intelligent. And he looks fit. He looks like he's a bigger dude, not as in carrying around extra weight, but as in carrying around functional weight. And yeah, he might be one of those guys that can go really far early in the game and then become a threat later on after the merge. I don't know. Guess we'll see. Romeo Escobar, 43, Los Angeles, California, TV producer, pageant director. Again, I see a guy here as potentially being very eccentric, and I don't know. I don't see somebody here who's built to last in the wilderness for long. Yeah, I feel like Romeo's going to be a quick boot. I really do. All right, Swati Goel, I think that's how you say it. Swati Goel, 19, Stanford, California student. All right, I think she's definitely the youngest on the cast at 19. Again, you know what? Sometimes those younger people, they can bond they can form quick bonds, and those bonds can take them far in the game. Even if that bond is someone using them to get further in the game as a shield or as a vote or whatever the case may be, those bonds can prove to be very effective in the game of Survivor. Tori Meehan, 24, Tulsa, Oklahoma, grad student. Alright, so younger, still in school, Oklahoma. I got a vibe from Tori. I've got a vibe from Tori's making the final three. I don't know. I see a certain amount of determination in there. I see a certain amount of toughness. At 24, she's got just enough world experience, real world experience, to be able to sniff out liars, sniff out phonies. She's young enough that she would be able to form those bonds. And she looks like she's fit enough to not be a hindrance in challenges. Grad student, probably smart enough to strategize, smart enough to figure out some puzzles and stuff like that. I'm calling it. Tori's top three. Right here. January 11th. LQ called Tori being top three. Alright, and the final person on our list is Zach Wertenberger, 21, Weston, Florida. Communications and media studies student. All right, definitely. You know what? They definitely went young with this cast. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I was just. I mean, still. 4 people 22 or younger. That's still a younger cast, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's still a younger cast. The oldest person is 57, and I believe he's the only one even in his 50s. Everyone else is 40s. Yep, everyone else is 40s or younger. Makes me wonder if the days of casting people who are in their 60s and 70s are over. I don't know. Seems like the people in their 60s and 70s, early on in the early seasons, it wasn't a liability, but it seems like that's really become a liability in Survivor, and they've become the easy vote outs early on. And maybe that's why they don't do it anymore. This looks like an interesting cast. You know, it's hard to say what they're going to bring from a worldview, what they're going to bring from a perspective of of diverse thought. They're definitely a diverse group as far as skin color is concerned. But are they actually a diverse group? I'm sorry, guys. I don't think that being diverse in terms of race is enough for Survivor to be top level Survivor. I think Survivor also needs to be diverse in worldview, and political views, religious views. You know, I feel like that's the type of diversity that makes Survivor interesting. I could care less what color somebody is. I could care less who somebody sleeps with. What I find interesting is seeing people with different ideas, different ideology, different religions, different political perspectives. I am fascinated seeing those people not just clash, but learn to work together. You know, that is, I believe, how Survivor can unify, is showing that, yeah, people from different perspectives can work together and they can excel. You know, I could care less if a black and white person can figure out how to work together. I think it's great, don't get me wrong, that Survivor has brought about a more diverse ethnic group. Like I said, I've been saying that for years. But we lost diversity in thought. And yeah, I think it's time to bring it back. So, hard to say with this cast here. I see a lot of people from California, a lot of people from New York, which means probably a lot of liberals. I don't see anybody here who strikes out as, who just strikes me as that person is definitely conservative. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody here who strikes me as that person is definitely conservative. What I care about is, do we have diverse thought, though? You know, do we have diverse thought? And you know what? It doesn't even need to be conservatives. I'm a middle-of-the-road person. I tend to lean left on social issues. I tend to lean right on fiscal and foreign policy issues. So I'm very much a middle-of-the-road person. I straddle both sides of the fence in a lot of ways. But even a moderate can, I believe that even a moderate can bring about discourse, because they're going to have views that are different from the progressives. Not just discourse, guys. Like I said, it's more than just discourse. I believe that a moderate could bring about, hey, this person believes that building the wall is a good thing, and look, they're getting along and working together with this progressive person. Or, hey, look, this person supported the war in Afghanistan, supported President Bush, and look, they're getting along with this progressive person. They're working together. That's where I think Survivor can shine. So, I don't know. I think it looks like an interesting cast. We'll see how it plays out. I will put up a projected boot order as part of one of my episodes before season 42 premieres. But what do you think of this cast overall? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it. While you're down there commenting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And also, guys, I am taking questions in my main show. So you can email me at thelqreview@yahoo.com with the questions about Survivor, questions about movies, questions about shows, the MCU shows, Cobra Kai. I mean, whatever you might have questions about, feel free to email me, and I will address your question in an upcoming episode of LQ's Pop Culture Review. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.